What's up YouTube, this is GalacticGod. I'm coming at you now with my updated Chaos Relinquished deck profile. This is probably one of my most favorite decks to actually play or duel with. It is extremely fun to use, it does some pretty nutty, crazy moves, and overall I usually have a really great time whenever I'm, dueling with this deck. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run through the deck list itself and then kind of talk about how the deck works and maybe go into a couple of the little combos that it's capable of completing. Alright, and here we go. Alright, so starting things off with the monsters, we are of course playing 3 copies of Relinquish, the heart and soul of the deck. From there, we are playing 3 copies of Manju of 10,000 Hands. This will allow us to grab either a Relinquish or the Relinquish ritual card to special summon him out. From there, we have 2 copies of the Djinn releaser of the rituals, which is pretty cool. It's going to go with our tour guides, and you're able to actually banish this from your graveyard as the cost for summoning Relinquish. You don't actually neg too much by bringing them out. And then when you use releaser as the ritual material, Relinquish gains the effect that your opponent cannot special summon any monsters, which can be quite handy. From there, we're playing 2 copies of the Presider, with kind of got the same condition as the Releaser, whereas you can use him in the graveyard as a material for any kind of ritual summon. Plus, that ritual monster then gains the effect that whenever it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, the controller of that ritual monster gets to draw a card, so pretty nice. Alright, so to help us get out our Releasers, we are playing 3 copies of Tour Guide. Everybody's a fiend here, so there should be no issue with getting Releaser out really fast. And then for the Presider, we're playing 2 copies of Summoner Monk. To go along with our Summoner Monk, we are also playing 1 copy of Violent Prison. This works out good because not only is it a light monster, but it is also a tuner, so it allows us to go into some synchro plays as well as some exceeds. Finally, since a lot of stuff is going to be going out of play, either with our Djinns or our Chaos monsters will be removing stuff, we're able to get that stuff back with Dimensional Alchemist, and plus he is a light, so to help with our light-dark ratio for the Chaos aspect of the deck. Finally, we're playing 1 Chaos Sorcerer and then 1 Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning to kind of round up our main deck monsters. So for spells, we're playing 3 of the Black Illusion Ritual. This will allow us to ritual summon out our Relinquished monster, so we gotta have that in the deck. From there, we have 2 Preparations of Rites. This allows us to actually plus, more or less, by allowing us to grab not only a ritual card, but a ritual monster. So it's a pretty cool card. Definitely great boost to ritual decks all around. We also have 1 Allure of Darkness for draw power. This, remove a dark monster, draw 2 cards. Pretty self-explanatory. We also have 3 Upstart Goblins. This not only to help speed up the deck and make it more consistent, but if we need to, we can also discard these for the cost of Summoner Monk's effect. From there, we're playing 2 copies of Soul Charge. It's always nice to get monsters back. And then finally, we're playing 1 Rank Up Magic, the 7th one. An awesome card to draw into, but not only that, but if we happen to get it by not drawing it during our draw phase, we can also discard it for Summoner Monk's cost, so we get a couple of multi-uses out of it. For traps, a pretty basic lineup. We have Compulse, Bottomless, 1 Black Horn of Heaven, Solemn Warning, Torrential Tribute, playing just 1 Wiretap, mostly for space reasons. I want to keep the trap lineup a little bit more versatile. Dimensional Prison, and then 2 Breakthrough skills to kind of stop our opponent's monster effects from going off. So for the extra deck, we're playing 2 number 101s and then 1 number C101. This is, of course, for our 7th one. We also have Diamond Direwolf, number 103, Black Ship of Corn, Gaga Cowboy, Abyss Dweller, and 1 Exciton Knight to round up our rank 4s that are going to be in the deck. For rank 3s, we have Mecha Equip Engineer, Ghost Trick Alucard, and Leviar the Sea Dragon. A lot of stuff's going out of play, so Leviar can be quite handy for getting it back into play. That rounds up the rank 3s. For Synchro monsters, we have Scrap Dragon, Stardust Dragon, and Stardust Spark Dragon. Really cool. I mean, you can use Spark Dragon's effect before he attacks a face-down monster. If it happens to be a hand, it cannot destroy Spark Dragon, so it's kind of cool. Alright, that rounds up the extra deck. Alright, so basically slow and steady wins the race with this deck. There's no real big opening power plays. Good thing to do is just to kind of set up well would be to either summon out a tour guide and use its effect to bring out 1 of your Djinn monsters, or you can go ahead and bring out Summoner Monk and use its effect to bring out the other Djinn monster. This allows us to either go in for a rank 4 or a rank 3 right off the bat and then kind of set up like that. So depending on what the situation is at the time, you go into whatever Exceed monster that you think is most appropriate. The big thing is though that you really just want to get one of your Degens into the graveyard. This allows you to go ahead and set up quite nicely for your Relinquished plays that will come later on. You don't want to have to give up an extra card from your hand or field to summon Relinquish if you don't have to. Plus, by using these cards in the graveyard, Relinquish gains another effect. And more often than not, that extra effect is really useful in the duel. Alright, so another thing that I really like about Summoner Monk is that when you use its effect, you can go ahead and discard the Ritual spell card to the graveyard without too much of a burden on Summoner Monk's effect. You can then go ahead and bring out your Degen overlay for whatever rank 4 that you need at the time. You can send the materials to the graveyard. This will allow you to take your opponent's monster, plus your Degen is now in the graveyard where you need it to be. So, you can then play your Preparations Are Right. This allows you to grab back your Ritual spell card that you discarded into the graveyard and grab a Relinquish from your deck. You now have everything in your hand and in the graveyard to pay for the cost of bringing out Relinquish. You can then use that again. And now you can take another one of their monsters. So the scenario can work out kind of nicely. Alright YouTube, and there you have it. This was my Relinquished deck profile. Remember to let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. Also, any ideas you might have for ways to improve the deck will be most welcome. One thing to remember about this deck is, of course, that it is not an extremely fast deck. It is a little bit more of a slowy control kind of deck, so it's not quite as explosive as some of the decks that are out there right now in the meta. Like earlier, I will say though that it is extremely fun to duel with, and I highly recommend anyone that's interested in using it to go ahead and build it up themselves, either in real life or on DevPro and DN, and give it a whirl and see what you guys think of it. And I guess that's going to do it for now. This is GalacticGod, out.